I'm just so fucking glad we had that.
Do you remember when we were vigilantes?
Oh, fuck yeah, man. I still am. What are you talking about? I go out there every night dressed in a Speedo.
Dude, okay, so wait. We gotta clarify something for the audience. Okay, so yeah, when we were like 11, maybe 12, at like the oldest probably, or I guess Tristan might have been 12 or 13, we literally, because we had this freedom, we were like, I don't know what was up with us, like, psychologically, like, we just had there was no boundary between our imaginations and what we could do, like, we actually thought
confidence we had as well.
Yeah, exactly, like, we thought it was okay that we were, like, dressing up in hand-me-down costumes of sort and going out into the night looking for crime.
Yeah.
We were, like,
ready to
11-year-olds looking
like,
for crime.
Big bad guys.
Yeah, dude, like, we had no idea that we'd get fucking murdered if we actually found a crime, you know? Like,
dude,
we were out
guys, you can't forget the Brady Bunch, though. That was definitely our first case.
I remember, we were just talking about the Brady Bunch the other day, man.
Dude.
Oh my gosh,
bunch of fucking dicks. They're like, we thought you were gonna egg cars. Motherfucker, we're buying
they were worried.
Birthday cake.
No, remember, they were worried that we were gonna egg their car because it was worth more than our lives. That's the exact wording it was. I mean, I thought it was funny. And like this big, like he was like what, 18? He threatened to dismantle our faces. People were rude.
He said, "I'm a MMA fighter. I rearrange faces for him."
No, he was like super calm about it. He was like, yeah, I wouldn't talk to me like that because I've been known to rearrange faces. I do MMA. I do.
I participate in that event. Just to clarify that story, the Hobo's little sister's having a birthday. We decided we want to make her a birthday cake. We walked to the gas station, given it is 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and these 12-year-olds are at a gas station buying eggs. It's a little sketch. I can see that now, but these assholes, one dude's like 15, other's 17, and the other's 18. They're like pretty much stalking us, like following us around wherever we're going.
We noticed the whole time.
And I remember the reason. The reason was because of me. That's why that guy like came up from behind me and tackled me. It's because he said it was because I was looking at him. Like how fucking like pathetic can you be for someone to look at you?
You look at people
like,
when they follow you around.
Yeah, and I mean,
weird.
But like we just saw him a whole bunch that day. I remember it pretty clearly. We saw him a whole bunch, and I was looking at him on a hill, and I guess he got like bad vibes from me staring at him. It's like, who knows? Maybe I thought he was sexy, but no, he was like...
I mean, you were ugly, dude.
I was very ugly, but I've raised the bar a little bit, so...
Yeah. But yeah, so those guys were following us, and then the 15-year-old ran up, and I don't know, it was like he was trying to tackle Dakota, but he ended up just like shoulder checking him a little bit, barely even moving him, and then Tristan, like, literally in a split second just tackled him.
Oh yeah, it was so quick.
Like
I didn't realize he left. Like, but it seemed like he tackled him from like coming from the other direction or something.
Yeah. Just instinct, like, someone set it off, man. I was like, don't fucking touch this dude.
Look, I'm gonna be in the army!
Dude.
And that's why Tristan's the muscle of our crew.
So, speaking of that, Tristan, I was curious, like, what's it like, you know, being... Because, I mean, we're living a completely different life, you and me, right now. I was just wondering, what's it like being in... Is it... Like, what branch are you in? Like, Army?
Yeah, I'm in the Army right now.
Like, what's that like? I mean, you're on the ground, so, like, that must be scary shit, huh?
It's not too bad. I haven't been anywhere crazy. You know, I just got back from a deployment, but it wasn't Iraq or Afghanistan. It was a peacekeeping mission in Kosovo. The Army isn't too bad. I just signed out on leave today, so I got 2.5 weeks off right now.
Yeah.
And I'm still getting paid. You know, like it's a salary pay, so I'm not like losing out on any money or anything. It's paid leave.
Good. So are you using any of the benefits you can get from it? Because I know they say they can provide a lot.
Yeah, of course. Like I get like STD checks every week. No, just kidding. I could if I wanted.
That's why you joined the Army.
Like so I have free healthcare, free dental. I actually have a dentist appointment tomorrow.
Ooh, dirty boy.
Taking care of them. Who goes to the dentist? That's disgusting.
Oh yes. Well, it's the reason for going to the dentist that makes you such a dirty boy.
Yes, I ate a lot of bad stuff in my life. But yeah, I do try to take advantage of those. And then as soon as I get out of the military, I'm able to go to school and basically get paid to go to school.
What is going to be your major?
Dude, that's a really good question, though. You know, for me, it's I kind of want to do something different every other day. Like,
yeah, I mean,
some days I want to be a stripper. Other days, like a flight attendant. Like,
oh, yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed that a lot. Like, that is a major struggle for, like, everyone my age is, what the fuck am I going to do degree-wise? If you're in college. If you're attending college, of course. Because, like, I know, like, what I want to, you know, do to get by, but it's, like, that's not going to make me happy, you know? And ultimately, that's what you need is something to make you happy.
Exactly. Yeah. The best thing is to not rush into anything.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like, you know, at this age is the experiment age where you can kind of figure out what you like doing, an idea. You don't have to commit to anything too soon.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty of being young is like that opportunity to kind of find something that you want to do. And would you agree, Hobo?
I completely agree. I mean, and Dakota, you're in school right now, so like, what are you trying to do? You know, I mean, I'm sure those thoughts cross your brain pretty often.
Well, right now I'm in the School of Mimes, learning the best, you know, sort of like in the box, use the rope. Yeah, it's really good. I mean, that's probably my passion. Now, I'm studying business right now.
I'm sorry, I'm a little lost.
Oh, I was just joking around, man.
Oh.
Dude, no, I'm not a mime. I'm not cut out for that mime life.
In the box, this rope, so I was just so lost for a second. I was like, what's going on?
No, but, no, I'm actually studying for business. It's kind of, I'm working on my fallback now. I mean, when it all comes down to it, I definitely want to do something artsy. Like, that's my true passion, like either singing or, you know, acting. I'd really like to do voice acting, too. I think it'd be fun. But right now, I
feel like that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, but I'm going to school for business, and like the accountant type job, stuff like that. Really boring shit, but you know, makes good money. So
okay.
I mean, I don't mind bearing through it for a bit.
You know that you could be kind of successful on.
Yeah.
You wouldn't mind doing it, so you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually
Plan B or Plan C.
Yeah, and I'm kind of developing somewhat of an interest in it too as I learn more about it. So I'm glad it's like there's something there that's kind of like you know, like this is nice. But like I think it's just interesting. It's like it's very when it comes to being a manager, anyways, and like certain management skills, it's very psychological. You know, you just like really you got to pick at people's.
Yeah, I suppose a lot of it is like
boss.
knowing people, kind of knowing how people work and like understanding somebody else's mindset. You know, kind of being able to work with them.
Yeah, and I've had past management experience before, so it really helps to have that there, you know. But it was really good for just
you
like.
You cut out on that last part. You had past. You said. No, before that about the manager experience. You said you had poor or you had your
No. I was just saying I've had management experience before, so it like really helps with you know, learning all this stuff too.
Oh, okay. So you're able to kind of pick up on it then.
Yeah. It just kind of comes a little bit more naturally.
Okay.
Well, Dakota, I'm still hoping that you do eventually, you know, achieve some sort of creative goals because you're a very talented actor. You're really funny. I mean, didn't you get into school in the first place because you aced like a monologue audition or something?
Oh,
like what happened there?
Well, I mean, that was a whole weird thing because as I was coming in, the school's theater department was like crashing down, like it was falling apart. So here, let me go into that because this is kind of an interesting story. So, anyways, like I went to perform a monologue at Sneed State, and I mean, it's not like a big college or anything, but I went there to perform a monologue just to see if I could get a scholarship for it, you know, just to chance it. And it turns out she said, the lady who gave me the scholarship, offered me a full ride scholarship. And that's what I thought it was. I'm like, oh, yeah, hell yeah, I'm going to take that. It's free school. But it turned out that when I started, she got fired, the theater department crashed, and they only gave me half of what she said she'd give me. So what I'm thinking happened there is she spent way too much money on the theater department and all that, and Sneed just had to cut her because like they didn't want to be spending that much money. So I came in, dude, and this thing just fell apart.
The vending machine.
Dude, I know, they're getting rid of it, man. There's no more fucking Oreos anymore. What is the good shit?
What's the good shit?
What if giving you a scholarship was like the last straw? Like, what if it's your fucking fault, Dakota?
Dude, it probably is, man.
Is.
She said she doesn't do it. Like when I did my monologue, she's like, I don't do this often. But how do you feel about a full ride scholarship? And I'm like, but like, I mean, that's. She said she never really does that. So my bet is they're like, what the fuck are you doing? You can't send a kid through college just because he like looks pretty. Like, I mean, of course, you know, I was fucking.
She's like, what do you mean? I've done it 16 times.
I mean, yeah, I had a banger in the back to actually get that scholarship. No, just kidding. But I mean, it was very, I don't know. It was sad to come into Sneed like that and just have everything I was hoping to do just kind of like pile now and laying on the floor. But I mean, they've been cutting back a lot, so. But I mean, I'm content with just focusing on business. It's good for me now, you know.
And so, are you still on the half ride scholarship then?
No, that ran out like a semester ago. I'm going. I mean, I can get through Sneed on FAFSA money though, which is really nice. And if I need to, I can. I'm definitely able to pay back any college money I could like borrow as in loans. You know.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I just had a question.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're in these arts. If you would like sing us a tune real quick.
A tune?
I think that's appropriate.
Yeah. You said it is appropriate?
Yeah, or you can freestyle. You know, it's like, it's whatever you're feeling.
Like,
yeah.
Doggy dog.
Okay, all right. Give me a beat.
I don't know if that's going to work just because of the lag here, but...
True.
We could try.
Well, here, let me think. I don't really know how to do it because like I'm mostly focused on like metal vocals, if anything, when it comes to that, and I really need to build my regular singing voice.
Just give us a scream. Just give us a scream. See if you have something in you.
I don't know how it's gonna sound over this microphone, but I'll try it. What do you want me to say? What should I scream?
Say, do something about our show so I can like cut it out and use it later. Like Hobo and the Vet. Hobo and the Vet, best podcast yet. Do that.
Hobo and the Vet, best podcast yet. All right, I'll try it, but no guarantees it's gonna sound good right now. I haven't been practicing lately. Hobo and the Vet. I don't remember the rest of what you were gonna say.
Actually, wasn't too bad.
No.
I think the best part is that you forgot the second sentence.
Yeah, I know.
6 words and you forgot 3 of them.
Dude, I am in the clouds right now.
Smoked doobie.
That's alright.
Well then,
we'll definitely have to use it.
to kind of get us on a track then, you high motherfucker. Do you mind if I'm gonna just kind of like change things up a little. I wanna, you know, I remember like, probably, I don't know, maybe it was a month ago, after I had just sort of like the crazy internal crisis and some falling outs with some friends, I remember I like, you know, was trying to call you, and eventually I did get a hold of you, and we talked a bunch, and you gave me like some awesome advice. I was asking you about your experience with moving, and you said some really interesting stuff. I can't remember what you said verbatim or anything, but I just remember like, what really stuck out to me is that it really turns out that you moved to Alabama to grow, and
yeah,
I don't know. I'm really interested in that perspective. You know, I mean, like I know that there's multiple reasons that you moved, but like, I guess in the end, what's more important is like, what do you think it really did for you, like moving away and leaving Colorado behind?
Well, just to clarify something real quick, I didn't necessarily move to grow. I kind of moved to like refresh. But what kind of happened was I ended up growing a lot more than I thought because, I mean, it was different. Like the whole experience was, I don't know, it was somewhat familiar because I mean I moved from Ohio when I was young and I do remember all of that and leaving all that behind. So I feel like it was easier for me to actually like get a move on things. But when I got out here, I realized this is a lot harder because I was so used to having my mom and Eric around. Now I'm living in kind of a trashy trailer with my dad, you know, so it was definitely a big change, and that whole experience was a lot different from what I feel now currently. So I mean a lot has changed out here since I moved. Well, not out here, a lot has changed for me since I moved out here, but it's just like it was very weird because my dad, he's a very like you do what I say person and put the children to work and like kind of a redneck. And like he can't talk seriously, so it was definitely an interesting experience. But once I eventually got myself out of that, I mean, I was on my own completely, and I was living with like Jason, who's a friend of mine, and then I lived with my girlfriend for a bit and paid rent with them, and now I finally got my own apartment. And I think since all of that, you know, it's just been. Everything's just been very optimistic, you know? It's like everything's at my fingertips, and it's like I've got everything here. But, I mean, honestly, currently right now I'm feeling like, I guess, lack of motivation to do a lot of things. But, I mean, I think I'm definitely, you know, getting a grasp on life because it's just growing up, you know? But, I mean, the whole experience of moving
Yeah,
was,
and I get that 100%.
Yeah.
So,
But the more
I
the like...
guess my question is, from you're saying when...
Yeah?
No, continue.
I was just going to say, like, but more like on the, on like the psychological aspect, like I told right over the phone, I really had to come to terms with Colorado before I could leave. Like, I had to be at peace with the memories of it, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I guess to give some context, you know, like I said, I kind of had I had a falling out with a friend, and I don't know, I started to get, you know, really nihilistic, and I was looking around and at Colorado and, you know, what was around for me, and just noticing that, like, there's not a lot of career opportunity for me here. I don't have a lot of good friends here. I don't know, just like, no one and nothing that I'm really attached to, and there's other places I know that would, like, you know, again, suit my ambition a little more, you know, like, because I want to do film and everything, and there's just nothing here. I don't know, and Colorado's just, like, not exactly my vibe anymore, and so in a panic, I don't know, when I panic, I have a tendency to, like, want to run away from it all pretty irrationally, so I needed to talk to Dakota to kind of, like, get some, I don't know, to kind of put my feet back on the ground, and he actually gave me some really good advice that did make me want to kind of move a little bit, but he also, like what you were saying about, you know, how you had to be on terms with Colorado before you left, so you weren't just like leaving in a panic or something, and you weren't leaving it behind in like in a hateful way or something.
Yeah, because I mean,
closure.
You can drag that shit with you if you do that. That's the only reason I said that, because like I mean, it will. Like, memories will follow you, and, like, when you remember Colorado, you don't want to say, like, oh, that nightmare waiting over there, you know, you want to think, like, you know, like, you want to miss it, kind of. Because, like, I mean, I know I do. Every time I think about it, I'm like, damn, wish I was in Colorado with my buds, smoking some weed, and...
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, there's always going to be a part of me, and even Ohio, I don't know if I mentioned this to you, you saw the photos, but me and my girlfriend went to Ohio pretty recently, and I haven't been there forever, and that's where I was born, you know? And it's just like, I mean, the memories, they just linger, and when I think of it, it's just like, I mean, it really is a powerful thing, you know?
Yeah, places can definitely stick with you.
Yeah.
Because when you think of a place, you can just be filled with memories of even one thing that really stands out or a whole bunch of things, you know? So I definitely think keeping that mental of remembering it positively is going to be beneficial to your mental health in that aspect.
But, like, who do we follow? Like, what do we follow religiously, you said?
Yeah, like Christianity, Buddhism, anything like that. I was just curious.
Do you want to go first?
Oh no, why don't you? I think you're the more religious one.
Okay, so yeah, I definitely found a place with God in recent years. Definitely kind of follow Christianity, not strictly or anything. I'm not, fully dedicated. I did go to church for like every Sunday for like 4 months straight, after a little bit. But I haven't been in a while. But still, I pray every night, and I kind of look for His guidance, consistently.
Mm-hmm.
I guess when we get down to it, like the morals of everything, I guess I don't agree 100% on everything that Christianity says or the Bible says. I kind of like to take it all with a grain of salt.
Yeah. I mean, it's more of like, it's more of the message that the stories tell, isn't it? Like,
yeah, exactly. I feel that 100%. Like,
I mean, I'm not like big into any sort of religion that I know of so far, but I mean, from most of what I can tell, it's like, I mean, everything's kind of, every word in any book, religious, kind of has meaning, kind of has like a background to it, It's like
of course.
The intention of the religion, I guess.
That's why I've been very fascinated with like Buddhism. The fact of just kind of just living a full life and being a good person,
Mm-hmm.
and that just makes things right with yourself.
Are you saying you follow that a little bit?
I'm fascinated by it.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense. Christianity, when you get down to the core of it, it's very strict.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's things I just don't agree with, like when it comes to like how, for example, a person who murders a child and somebody who steals food is like kind of almost considered sin in the same category, and that's not really, that just doesn't fit right with me.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. I guess my thing is I kind of look at the religions, Christianity, and like the moral guidelines as exactly what I just said, as a guideline. I feel like if you take everything so literal, you're not going to be able to live your life to the fullest. You're
definitely
stuck.
Yeah, it creates a lot of judgment too when people follow it so strictly.
Yeah,
like people will look at you, like people look at people who smoke weed and they just make false judgments about it just because they have that sort of mindset sometimes.
Yeah, exactly, and my view of God is that like he's probably a pretty reasonable person, at the end of the day,
or God, or whatever
whatever, exactly. Yeah, at the end of the day, he's probably pretty reasonable.
Might just be like an orb, like a big old purple orb with a halo around it. That'd be pretty cool.
Some wings.
I'd be down with a God like that.
Put a double guitar on him, electric guitar. It's pretty hot.
Was Talladega Nights? He's like, I like to picture my Jesus with a tuxedo T-shirt. This is like the party. I'm also professional. Yeah, so I guess my big thing is like, I do have faith in Christianity. I just you kind of use the Bible and the moral values more as a guide to kind of live a positive life.
Yeah,
rather than follow it strictly to the code, because it just if you're just too strict on the code, it just doesn't, for me, it doesn't seem right. I was just gonna add, Ryan and I had a conversation recently talking about like what's moral, like your objective morals, like if you wanted to elaborate on that, like
I'm currently researching a lot of meta ethics, and a big part of that, probably the most fascinating debate to me right now is the relativist and the objectivist perspectives on morality. Mm-hmm. I right now, I lean more towards thinking that morals are objective, like they're intrinsic in nature. But I'm just, to be intellectually honest, I'm still really studying it, and I don't want to speak from an authoritative perspective on it yet, because I don't have all the points and everything ready. But yeah, it is really interesting. I'll definitely have to elaborate on it on a different episode.
I was just curious, like, because this is something I've been kind of struggling with a bit more, and I'm just wanting to get. It's not really a struggle. It's just something I've been wondering about. But like, why do you think people need faith? Like, why is it important? And this is an honest question I've just been kind of asking myself. Like, what does it do for me other than, like, maybe grounding me?
Well, I think there's so I'm an atheist, you know, just it's just based off of the way I perceive the world, I guess. But I think that faith and religion, there's a lot of objective benefits to it. You know, I think people really get a lot of peace of mind and comfort in, you know, believing in afterlife. But also, again, like having some morality attached to it, like religious people, even though, you know, a lot of religious people aren't always great people, it's at least part of almost every religion that you should be a good person. And so a lot of religious people happen to be like the nicest people I know, you know, and they don't lie, they don't steal as much and this and that. But again, it's just like I really think it's mainly for peace of mind. You know, I think a lot of people, I think most people by nature are afraid to die. And
do you think it's necessary though? Like, do you think it's vital to one's life? Like, do you think it's really important for a person to carry that with them?
No, I mean, well, it's up to the individual. Like that's the thing. You know, a lot of people are at, I want to say, at peace with death. You know, it's like,
yeah.
I guess you could more call me an agnostic because I'm not like saying nope, God's not real. I just don't pretend to know, I guess is the difference, and I'm kind of open to whatever.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, in the sense that needing faith, I don't think faith is a necessity in this life, and I just say that strictly based on the fact that there's a huge population of people who are like atheists who have kind of come to terms with it, and they're living life just 100% fine. You know, you can't really argue with the results you're seeing there. So probably isn't necessary, but I do feel like the peace of mind statements and the kind of, if you ever feel alone, you know you're not alone kind of feelings when you're with when you know that God is with you, in that sense. So
yeah, that makes sense. Like, I mean, it's human nature to like need someone there, and I feel like that may be what religion is. It's just like,
is so important.
Like ways. It's the connection, the spiritual connection that people like need for like something greater, you know. And I guess when I put it in perspective that way, it could seem like, to me anyways, it seems like it could be, you know, an important thing in one's life. But I mean, the way I see it, I don't know if I'm like, I agree with some aspects of Christianity, but I just don't like the context that, you know, it's used in the world, if that makes any sense. Like, what it's used for. Like, a lot of the times it's used to manipulate people and stuff, and you see, like, like you said earlier,
I don't think religion should be. I think religion should be absolutely separate from politics. I wish it was I wish it was a more private thing, and it wasn't just like, again, it didn't like manipulate and just change the way somebody views everything politically.
Yeah. I mean, the worst part too,
and that's the worst.
The worst part is like that kids are being taught this from like when they're teeny tiny, before they can even make decisions for their own, sorry. But they're taught, like, you know, they go to church a lot of the time, and when they're in school, you know, they stand up every morning and say the pledge under God. And I just think, I mean, like, I get it's, you know, it's good to respect the nation, but I don't think God should be involved in that. And I mean, children are kind of conditioned to believe that, like, that's what they believe, you know, and they don't really have any other options. They're just kind of set on a track, and I feel like that has definitely probably changed the way society, you know, functions.
Yeah, I guess the thing is you look at is well, one, in a lot of schools now, they have A, remove the line, or B, give students the option to not say that line if they don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually noticed a lot of schools don't even force students to say the pledge anymore. In my high school, we said it twice. I think the entire 4 years I was there.
When I was in high school,
I know that you're meaning like elementary schools and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, well, actually, I had an occurrence in high school where a kid wasn't standing up to say the pledge, and I get it's like a respect thing, and I stand up. I I just didn't really agree with, being under God. But anyways, this kid didn't stand up, and this teacher chewed him the fuck out over not standing up. And I just thought that was so wrong to see, like, just in, an average person you find, like, they get offended over that, And that's kind of like what I was goes back to what I was saying earlier about, like, the judgment. People, it's supposed to be kind of a free country and freedom of religion, but some people don't respect, others' choices, it seems like. And that's not just Christianity, that's any religion. But I just think,
and so
overall, I guess what I'm trying to say...
Is that,
yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, what brings it back is that politics and religion, in the older, hundreds of years ago, and the beginning of the country is almost one and the same, where, like, the church kind of ran the countries and ran the towns.
Mm-hmm.
The church was, like, in charge. So, I think it's definitely a lot more separated now, obviously, but it's hard to say, like, it's not going to have an influence anymore. Mm-hmm. Which I do agree with you that your religion and your political views should kind of be separated. They just don't really go together.
I was curious. So like, what does an atheist like believe in afterlife wise? Is it like I was wondering that. What is it like? Like, how do you see it? I guess.
Well, so I mean, a lot of atheists. I would say, like, the general consensus for atheists is they think that, you're just dead and you're in a state of non-existence. Like, I mean, I don't even know if it would be appropriate to say, like, the whole everything goes black or something. I mean, it's just like you're just not a thing anymore. Like, you like atheists. I think they find their comfort in depth by perceiving it like, you know what, I'm gonna be dead and I can't be upset about that anyway. Like, I'm dead. I won't know that I'm dead. Yeah. I'm not gonna be able to mourn that. So it's like, I think that's how they find their peace, and it's like with me, again, I guess I'm agnostic because, like, I mean, I don't know exactly what, like, the terminology is though, because, like, I lean more atheist, like, just because I don't know, because the way I see logic, I guess, and everything, but also, I don't pretend to know, and I guess I find peace in a state of not knowing. I'm just like, oh, yeah, I don't really know what happens. Like, why think about it too hard? I have too much other things to philosophize about.
And then to circle back real quick, when it comes to what I was talking about earlier, where I don't necessarily agree with everything in Christianity, is like, right here is one of the best people I know, and he's just overall he's a great person. He's nice. He's, lives on the right side of the moral scale.
Oh, so you're talking about me, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
But just an example here. I mean, I know I'm lying about everything I just said, but just an example. Yeah. He's genuinely a good person, but he doesn't really know, like, what to believe faith-wise. Why is that now, since he doesn't know, that he doesn't, if there is a heaven, that he doesn't go to heaven because somebody who is kind of a bad person gets forgiven because he asked for forgiveness or so on, whatever. Jesus died for everybody's sins. He's kind of a bad person, but believed in heaven. So now he's in, and this dude who's been a good person his whole life is kind of like, yeah, go fuck yourself because, like, you couldn't commit. I just feel like that's kind of unfair.
Like, I mean, God is pretty fucking conceited, and if that was true, he's like, oh, what? He doesn't believe in me?
Yeah.
What?
He's like, I have never visited him. I never talked to him. I never go hang out. I never took him to the bar. Like, now he can't. Now he doesn't know who I am. Like, it's like serious. It's like I said. I feel like God's reasonable being. Like, to me, that's where Christianity kind of blurs the lines there.
Yeah.
What about you, Dakota? How do you perceive reality and afterlife?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm starting to get more like, I mean, I haven't really read into anything, and it pisses me off because I'm a bad procrastinator. But from what I've kind of learned, I guess, through observing, is that, like, I guess I'm kind of falling towards the more spiritual side, like that we're just, like, energy that's here, and we've talked about this before.
Sorry, can you say that one more time?
I was just saying, I think it's a lot more. It's like energy, And I think we're just kind of like,
Okay.
when we die, we just become life again. You know, I think it's just, rather than, Rhett was kind of talking about some of the atheist perspectives where
Do
it's
you
like...
believe in, like, reincarnation?
Yeah. But rather than like what
Okay.
Rhett was talking about with the some of the atheist beliefs where people might believe like you're dead and you're already going to be dead, like it's all just going up to death. I feel like it's kind of the opposite to me. Like it's all just like, it's like this life down, next life to go, you know? I feel like it's just a long trip, you know? And I feel like there's kind of a sense of karma in there too. Like, and I guess that's where Christianity would that's where it kind of interests me a bit more. It's like kind of a moral boundary. It's like, and I guess that's how it defines your reincarnation. Like, you give shit, you get shit. I mean, and, you'll become something, that actually matches, like, what your vibes kind of put off, I guess, If that makes any sense. But, like, you will become
I get that.
what you dish out, I guess.
Yeah, it sounds like it could definitely be like Hinduism. I want to say is like big
Is
on
it?
that kind of I think Hinduism.
No, that's more Buddhism. Hinduism actually has a deity. Buddhism doesn't really have a deity. It's more just like a collective sort of consciousness that is the world, and then they believe in reincarnation and stuff.
Buddhism. I get them. I do get them confused.
So I guess that would be the closest, because from what I've told people, they say Buddhism's my closest thing. But I didn't really know. But I'm gonna have to. I've been thinking about looking into it because I've heard from multiple people saying.
Let's really do it. Because I know someone who, his name is Adam. He's kind of like me in the regards of where, like, when he looks at Christianity, he feels like it's almost unfair.
Yeah.
To make that like as a religion, and he said he kind of studies into the Buddhisms, the aspects, and he's the one who's got me fascinated by it. And definitely what you said, it sounds like Buddhism now that my memory's been refreshed. But yeah, you should definitely take some time out of your day and just read like a little article or something on it.
Yeah, I'll read into it. But like, I mean, part of me too is like, it's like I don't want to set myself to something, and I just want to kind of take bits and pieces of information and put them together to kind of create my own, like, I guess religion in a way.
See, I have a big problem with that sort of philosophy though, because like I hear a lot of stuff like this, like where people go, like I don't want to really like read into it that much because I want to do my own original thing, or like whether it's philosophy or religion. But dude, it's like it just seems like kind of a lazy excuse to reinvent the wheel, because that's all you're gonna be doing. Like, people have been thinking about, especially stuff like this that's so meta. People have been thinking about metaphysical shit for like, I mean, centuries, thousands and thousands of years. Like, so you'd be doing yourself a disservice not to go ahead and read stuff that's similar to what you're thinking, because you're gonna learn a lot doing that. That doesn't mean you have to attach yourself to that religion.
Reading. I was never gonna ditch the reading. I'd still read stuff. I'm just saying I might not set to something. Like I intend like to read up on everything I learn, and that's why I said take bits and pieces of information, because like read up on like every religion I can get around to, and then just go from there with and just like see what makes sense to me.
Yeah, fun fact. I think I may need to be fact checked, but I heard down the line that Buddha. You've seen the depictions of like the statue of Buddha, fat bald dude. I heard that's not actually Buddha.
Oh, not at all.
It's just like one of his biggest followers.
Well,
it sounds like kind of really follows the religion.
Wasn't Buddha supposed to be like really
I don't even
skinny?
think it's. Well, yeah, I mean, Buddha was like Brahmins and eventually Buddhists. Their whole thing is that they basically spent all their time meditating and starving themselves to hopefully achieve enlightenment.
Yeah, like fasting.
And
isn't that what Siddhartha was?
Yeah, like Siddhartha is Buddha's name, and the book Siddhartha was like kind of an interesting fiction. It was kind of like, it was sort of it was kind of like reimagining Buddha's I don't know, there was a lot of weird themes in it. Like, it was reimagining Buddha's transformation into the Buddha and like his journey, but it was taken much more like physical, as in Siddhartha he's going on this like actual trip. And there's also the theme kind of like reincarnation or something, as the Buddha's name is Siddhartha, and suddenly the book character Siddhartha is meeting Buddha. You know, I mean, this is not a conversation. I don't know that the audience will understand, but yeah, we're talking about a really good book called Siddhartha.
Everyone should read. It's beautiful.
Siddhartha.
It's a really good book, yeah. I noticed that we all became a lot more spiritual and stuff. I mean, I was very into like Destiny and like karma and
yeah, it's a good game.
Buddhism and stuff for a long time, until I kind of became more skeptical and I don't know, started to like read more and I don't know, open up my perspective a little bit. But what kind of did that to us, it seems like, was all the psychedelic use.
Oh yeah.
And yeah,
without a doubt.
I was wondering if we could maybe go over the good, the bad, and the ugly of our LSD experience, because that's the drug that we've done the most together besides weed.
And
man, we've
shrooms. Or did you say shrooms?
Actually, I've never tripped with Dakota.
Yeah,
that's right.
That is sad. That's very sad.
Sadly, I have never tripped with you. That's pretty fucked up. So, you know, maybe next time we get together.
That'd be true.
That'd be so fun. It's one of those things that's really difficult to talk about sometimes, especially to a listener that hasn't done it before. But it's like no one can really explain in a super great way. They can't articulate it perfectly, like what the experience is truly like. But I mean,
yeah.
But we can do our best and talk about some experiences and stuff. If you want, Dakota, I can help fill in the story. I really remember that experience very well.
This is a great story too. I tell together.
Yeah. Okay, so to give some context, it was the first week of spring. It was literally the first day of spring break when we all decided, you know what? Like it was a few years ago. We had a really bad winter, and we're done with the winter. It's sunny outside. Let's go camping to shove it in winter's face that it's spring now, bitch. And so yeah, the first day of spring break, we drove way up in the mountains, way up higher than we realized, and we were gonna go camp at this really cool place that we saw online called Lost Lake, and we knew it was a little bit of a hike in, but we were like, cool, this sounds fun. We ended up getting there, and there's kind of like snow on the trails and this and that, but we're not too worried about it. But the trailhead is blocked off. Usually you're allowed to like drive up to it a little more, but we weren't able to because I guess of the weather and stuff. So we had to park way down at the bottom, and then basically like hike our way up. But this is where we had a lot of mistakes. We had no idea what the fuck we were doing.
Dude, we were completely unprepared.
Yeah, well, it was that we were over prepared in some senses too. Like we didn't really know like what backpacking was. So instead of like when you backpack, like when you have to go on okay, here's the thing. I'll break it down. All the mistakes that we made. When you want to go backpack somewhere, especially like Lost Lake. So we returned there later, so I know how far it is. It's about a 4.5 mile hike in, but it's like all uphill and it's crazy. Yeah. So here's the thing. We didn't have the map down, so we didn't know like exactly how to get there. There was still snow on the ground. We didn't have good winter clothes because, we thought it's just spring, so whatever. We didn't have actual backpacking equipment, and we brought way more than we fucking needed. So what we ended up doing is we all had like our regular backpacks, and we were all like carrying shit in our hands, which is just ridiculous. Like when you're backpacking, you shouldn't be carrying anything. It should all be on your back, and you should pack very lightly. Yeah. But instead, like Cole's carrying firewood, so like somebody else is carrying like a fucking full size cooler.
Yeah, or the tent. We were carrying the tent. We didn't have it hooked up.
Yeah, so it was just ridiculous. And then with me, because I was like, the strong guy or whatever. We ended up like putting about half the equipment into a tarp and then like tying a rope around the tarp and attaching it to my waist. And I'm just like dragging this sled of a tarp up this hill. And we had no idea where we were going. We thought maybe it was like a mile in.
You were the fucking mule of the group, dude.
Oh my god, dude, it's horrible. But yeah, so we're dragging like half our shit, including like perishable food and random crap up this. And then, we're not finding it. We took a wrong turn here or there, and then we think we're on the right track finally, but it's way farther than we think. And it's just such an exhausting hike, carrying all this shit.
Oh my god!
Walking in snow. It was just fucking terrible. And eventually, when it started to get dark, and we kind of started to panic when it started to snow.
Yeah.
So yeah, it started snowing on us, and we were like, what the fuck do we do? So we left Dakota up there to set up the tent. I think we left Noah up there too. It was Dakota, Noah, Cole, and I. Yeah, so a few of us basically stayed at the tent, and Cole and I ran back down to get the essentials, which were like weed and whiskey. So, yeah, like we ran all the way back because we had too much stuff. We decided, so we couldn't like take it all back. I mean, it took us like way too many hours to not even get halfway there. Like when we went back later during summer, a few summers later or something, yeah, we noticed we didn't even get halfway there. Like not even close.
Yeah, no.
It was ridiculous.
It was crazy because I didn't recognize like any of it. Like it was completely different with the snow.
Yeah, the snow really fucked us up, and our lack of knowledge of how to actually do that kind of shit. But anyway, so yeah, like we brought the weed and the whiskey back up, and we tried to enjoy ourselves in the tent that night, but we were just like freezing our dicks off. It was just terrible. And the next morning, this is like my favorite part. It's not as funny without the visuals, but it's like, it's just so funny that what we did the next day, my brilliant plan was, let's put all this stuff in the tarp and then attach the climbing rope to all of our waist. And so like a bunch of fucking sled dogs were just like, we're just like dragging the shit down. And what's funny to me is just like is how mad I was getting at everyone. Like we're just picture it. We're walking and like we're taking just step at a time, and I'm like, every once in a while, I'm yelling at one of us, like, you're not pulling your weight. I just find that so funny hilarious. For some reason.
Like, you guys are probably carrying like 500, 600 pounds worth of shit almost.
I doubt it's that much, but still. I mean, it was definitely a lot.
It was probably like 300 pounds among everyone.
Maybe 75 pounds per person. The way it sounds, I mean, you had a full size cooler.
Yeah, no, it was a lot. I really don't know. It was definitely enough where it was like hard to pull that though with all of us. So yeah, I mean, that was just ridiculous. And so it just got worse from there. We got in the car and we started driving, hopefully home, like the next that morning, but then the blizzard. Or the snow turned into a blizzard, and literally the visibility was like 5 feet ahead of us. So we were in the car, Cole's driving,
it was scary.
17.
It really was.
Yeah. Like we were all 16, Dakota was maybe 15. Yeah, like you were about 16.
Yeah.
We were all about the same age. Under 18 is what's important because this was like the craziest blizzard in the last like 5 years in Colorado. Like literally all the main highways and all the big roads closed down. So there was absolutely no chance we were getting home. Like the only road really home is like the I-70 and then to I-25, and they were both closed. So we were told by someone in a fucking liquor store and we had to start searching for a hotel.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty scary considering we weren't legally allowed to get one, I don't think, at the time.
No, yeah, like a few of the hotels rejected us simply because of that, and we're like, dude, are you serious?
It's like we're gonna just sit out here and freeze.
We're under 18, and we have no choice. Like we're stuck up here. But mostly it was just booked because everybody was getting stuck up there.
See, the thing is, though... I was just going to say, because a lot of those places were casinos. They wouldn't, let people our age in. Like, they couldn't. It was really strict on, policy and shit.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous, honestly.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so we ended up, I don't know, we were all kind of scared. I don't know, like, I feel like my perspective was unwarranted and very odd. I was kind of having fun the whole time, like, and I don't know, everybody else just kind of like, especially Cole, he was driving, he was just like scared and like not enjoying himself. But eventually we ended up finding this little shady motel that was like part pawn shop, part motel, and the nice lady let us wait. Yeah, she ended up letting us wait until a room opened, and then suddenly we had a room there, and nobody wanted to do anything but just kind of relax and like get over like the sort of traumatic experience. But I was happy-go-lucky, and I was like, guys, let's do those tabs that we brought up here, because we all got tabs for Lost Lake, because it's gonna be a legendary trip, and that got snowed out. And I was just like, I was gonna be bummed if we didn't trip in that fucking hotel.
Yeah.
And nobody wanted to at first. Like an hour or two went by until everybody was like, yeah, you know what, let's fucking do it. It's still early in the day. Let's just fucking do it. And so, yeah, we ended up tripping in this fucking hotel, and lots of shenanigans went down.
Oh yeah, I did. The biggest thing I remember too from that is the fucking s'mores, man. Do you remember that? Had them all over my face.
Are you talking about the smachos?
The smachos, that's what it was. Yeah, like we made some nachos using s'mores, and we thought, you know, we'd put s'mores or marshmallows down, graham crackers in, put chocolate over it. We put this in the microwave, pull it out, and I think I ate most of it because I was a fat little kid, but. I just remember having fucking melted marshmallow all over my face and hands, and I'm just like picking at it, like watching the strings like come off of my face, and I'm just delusional.
Happen?
I think they were Rhett's idea for the smachos.
No, you were really out of it. You were out of it, and I remember
crush all the nachos, like the nachos up.
What ended up happening is like Dakota and Noah got hungry, and so they first tried like hot dogs, but they like. I think you guys weren't really into it, and then you guys wanted s'mores, and so like you put a s'more, like a regular one, in the microwave, and it just didn't come out the way it just didn't like cook evenly, and you didn't like it that much, so you and Noah just started fucking crushing them all up, like all the
like
s'more
your
stuff.
bare hands, like smashing them and shit.
And then you put it back in the microwave, and you pulled it out, and we all saw it. And thought it looked so appetizing, so we all just stood.
It probably looked gross as fuck.
Dude, like I remember we were pretty much all standing in front of the mirror, eating over the sink like fucking rats, just like sticking in pieces of graham cracker into this marshmallow and chocolate gooey mess, and eating it like nachos. And so that's where, you know, the term smachos naturally arise.
Yeah. What did this string of mallow look like connected to Dakota's face? Like,
so I mean, so basically, Dakota was a fucking mess, mentally and marshmallow wise, and he had a bunch of marshmallow all over his face, and he reaches up to kind of like wipe it off, and he puts his hand on it, and there's way more marshmallow than he's anticipating, because when he pulls his hand away, he pulls like a 3-foot long string of marshmallow with him.
Dude, that was one of those insane moments, like when we were digging in the dirt at U Valley and we were just laughing hysterically. That was one of those moments right there, like where it's just like hysterical, like a genuine craziness. You know, you just feel like this is your life now. You've got marshmallow on your face and it's never fucking coming off. That's who you are now.
Yeah, or like you said in Ute Valley when I like plopped my knees in the dirt and I started to like dig, and then you put your knees in the dirt and started to dig, and we just kept saying dig, dig, dig.
What?
It's just like hysterical moments, like you can't control it. It's like your body urges you to do it.
That's one of the most fun parts about acid.
Dude, it is. It's kind of losing the self-control is somewhat fun, you know, because it's not like you're gonna hurt anyone, but you're just gonna you're gonna act crazy, and I love it. It's funny.
So like if you're looking at the good, the bad, and ugly of this trip, can we definitely say that the marshmallow to the face is the ugly?
Yeah. Probably.
No. That's maybe the physically ugly, but it's definitely not what I would consider.
I look
the
like
ugly
a younger, sexier Santa Claus.
Yeah. No, I mean, in that trip we probably that's the thing. With especially an LSD trip, because it's such a long trip, like we're talking like 5-hour peak, like 8 to 12 hour full on experience. Like you're bound to see some good, some bad, some ugly, probably. And I would say I don't know. There definitely wasn't like just an absolute bad, like a negative experience. But the worst thing that happened was probably when we decided to go on a hike. And the fun part was crossing the river. You know, we were all working together to cross this river, like acting like it's such a marveling moment. And then we finally get across the river, and we decide to like go up this hike. And it was barely really a hike, but we just kind of like, you know, going up these like large foothills or small mountains, whatever you want to call it. And we ended up getting way ahead. And then I think me and Noah were at the front, and we just hear like Cole from the way back. Cole's like the nicest guy ever. And we just hear him go, "Hey guys, come down here." And we go down there, and Cole, he basically, like, he doesn't look like he's freaking out, but he basically just told us he was freaking out. And we ended up going back to the motel room. And I think that's when all the crazy shit started happening, like when we turned off all the lights and, I don't know, started, like, playing with this, like, LED, flashing ball. Yeah. And it looked like the cops were coming or something because it was red and blue, and then the smachos and everything. That's when I got the weirdest visuals. Like, that was one of those things where, again, this whole thing, if you have tripped, you probably know the kind of things we're talking about. I'm speaking to the listeners, that is. But if you haven't, you're probably like, what the fuck are these guys talking about? And you've probably already exited this podcast. But basically, like, I remember sitting, the visual that I remember the most is sitting on the bed, one of the two beds, looking across at our old friend Noah, and his head just started expanding so much that I had no more peripheral view. Like, literally, his face was, like, going around my face, and I couldn't see to my left or right anymore. So weird. And we both started screaming. Yeah, so I don't know what psychedelics do to you, man, but they are crazy. Like, I love that there are those times, like, I don't know if we had a super profound experience, like, intellectually or anything that time. I think we mostly just had fun. Yeah, but that's what's so interesting about it. Yeah, like, sometimes you fuck around, but sometimes, especially on LSD, like I've had times also where I've been on where we've started a trip, and the come up is just insanely awful, where, like, Dakota, do you remember some of those trips where we'd just be lying down on the carpet, basically, like, curling up in a ball, like, in a fetal position, and we feel as if we're dying?
I don't
do you remember any of those times?
I don't really remember so much of that. I don't know if I really had much of that. I mean, I might have, but I can't remember. I mean, a lot of the time...
Yeah, no, you probably suppressed it.
Yeah, a lot of the time, I was a very distracted person, and, like, whoa, different thoughts. And, like, I mean,
That's true.
It was very... I was kind of in my own world a lot when I tripped. And I... Like, thing about that trip we were just talking about, like, my bad, like, I guess if you could say bad, like, the worst part for me, as weird as it is was listening to Snarky Puppy. And just to let you know, this is a band, like, I actually really love now and even then. But when it got into...
It's a jazz band.
Yeah, but when I got into some of the lot more technical parts, because this was around... It was my first time really listening to Snarky Puppy. I think Noah put it on. But once I started, like, really listening to it and stuff, it kind of, like, messed with my thoughts, you know? It kind of, like, made me think I was spiraling, you know, kind of going down that, like, spiraling hole of, like, downward, just like, oh shit. Like, everything felt heavy, you know, in my world, if that makes sense. Like, I guess it was just giving me, like, weird vibrations. But I remember... As weird as...
Like, you felt kind of overwhelmed?
Yeah, I guess. But as weird as it is, that was the worst part of the trip for me. Like, everything else, I just remember it was almost like a dream. You know, it just seemed just so, like, unreal. And I remember looking through we found this, like...
Yeah,
I think it was a mine. But we saw this gate, and it just went into darkness. And I remember looking at it, and it's like, holy shit, am I going to wake up? Because it's just, like, significant moments like that where you're just shocked and it surprises you. And they're coincidental.
Yeah, dude, that was super weird. Like, the reason that we initially crossed that river was because we looked across into this, like, cave, and we saw, like, metal bars or something. We were like, what the fuck? Is that a ladder? Like, what is that? And so that's why we initially crossed over. But, yeah, I remember we all just got, like, some really surreal, sort of, like, dream-like vibes when we actually, like, you know, stepped into that thing, and it was just like a weird metal gate.
I mean, it was creepy how it, like, it had almost like a life, and it was like, I don't know if that makes any sense, but I'm trying to say
history?
It had a history, it had character to it, and it was like looking into it, it's like, I mean, so many possibilities of your imagination to, like, put to it, you know, and
yeah.
It was just such a magical experience. I don't know why. And all we were fucking doing was looking at this cave with bars on it. Like, we weren't doing anything so, like, super amazing, but, like, it felt so powerful when we were, though. It was crazy.
Yeah, see, that's, man, so, like, the reason, that actually brings up a good point. The reason I think tripping is, like, a skill is specifically because of the contrast of, like, those sort of experiences that feel profound that aren't. Like, you know, like looking into a cave of bars and feeling like it's some big moment. And it's like, really, we had fun in that, and that's great. That's like a weird dream. And but the thing is, like, you have to, the skill comes in and picking apart like the moments that are actually profound, like, because like, you know, like sometimes even mid trip you have to do that. Like I've had trips before where, like, you know, I'm just in my head the whole time and I'm having a lot of thoughts, and some of those thoughts are actually like really like necessary and, you know, groundbreaking for me and have like improved my life. But the kind of scary part about tripping is that, like, you have to be conscious enough to go like, okay, yeah, so it's really profound that I notice all the different perspectives of people, or like, or, you know, maybe I'm fake, maybe my friends are fake, like, I don't know, like, there are certain like productive things to happen, but then sometimes, like, you're getting that tripping delusion and you're not actually like figuring things out, you're just distorting your reality in a worse way. Trying to think of an example, but it's like, you know, like, I've probably thought in the past that, like, during a trip that I'm being really smart when I'm actually just like, I don't know, I'm believing like my own deluded bullshit. I can't think of an example at the moment, but it's like, you know, like, okay, so it's like some of the first realizations everybody seems to have on LSD is like, oh wait, maybe our government is like kind of weird and like maybe it's not that cool and stuff. And it's like, a lot of times people on LSD take that shit way too far and they just become full-blown conspiracy theorists and they think they're really intelligent. And it's like, no, dude, you're just being a little retarded. Like, you think you're intelligent.
Just overly paranoid on this.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's a lot of it. Like, you know, being able to pick apart just paranoia and actual, like, and good observations. But yeah, so Dakota, like, before moving on, like, what do you think is at least one of the most profound realizations you had with psychedelics? Because maybe we shouldn't just paint the picture that psychedelics are like
a party drug,
or just like, because they're really not a party drug. Like I feel like every time you have a good experience with psychedelics, it's kind of like lucky, like when you just have fun and you know, just kind of like, I don't know, relax with your friends.
So, like,
and
the
shit.
biggest
like,
thing I've learned from psychedelics, then, kind of.
Yeah.
I would say that it'd be that learning and knowledge is, like, literally everything. Like, knowledge, as people have said, knowledge is power. I mean, I don't want to say power. That's weird, actually. I don't like that. But what I have discovered is, for myself, like, knowledge is everything to me. And, like, I mean,
yeah, and sort of like, and ignorance is not bliss.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that kind of ties into it? Because that was definitely a big thing with psychedelics with me, is that, like, you know, I didn't value knowledge enough. You know, I thought, like, as long as I'm feeling okay right now, like, who cares? You know, like, what I know. But it's like,
yeah. I mean,
it's just
I think
it opens your eyes up to educating yourself.
I think it played a big role in me becoming an adult too, is having those experiences, especially with, like, some of the stuff
I can understand
that was going on in life. But I mean, I've been wanting to do it recently just to kind of come into a different state. But I mean, I feel like a lot of tripping kind of, because I mean, my parents got divorced at a point, and tripping after that, it was like, I mean, I felt like a new person. I just remember, like, that point in my life, it all turned around, and it was like I felt a lot more independent. It really helped me grow, and I think a lot of the growing was just because it made me start asking questions about, like, myself and about the world, and it made me kind of put into perspective a bit more, like, my reality, you know, and then objective reality. Like, it really helped me with understanding, like, points of views as well, I think. Like, trying to see from someone else's shoes, you know, or through their glasses, I guess.
Definitely.
yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
I think one of the big keys that you hit there was that I don't know, psychedelics seem to make everybody at least get a little bit introspective. You know, like, it definitely makes everybody think about themselves sometimes for the first real time.
Yeah. Because, I mean, it's almost like when you're looking at someone when you're tripping, or literally when you're looking in a mirror, but it's almost like you see, like, a reflection of, like, your emotions and how they're being used from this person's point of view.
I feel like you can almost...
Like, you can really...
You can almost see the reflection of your inner self on your outside.
Yeah, and I really think, like, it's people's vibrations, like, you know, that's why, like, their vibes, I guess. But I really think it's, like, people, like, think a certain way, and they can, like, give off a presence just from thinking it. It's like they have these thoughts in their head, and you're almost somewhat connected with them. When you're tripping, you can almost feel
you
them.
honestly just feel somebody's vibes intensely.
And see, that's sometimes what causes bad trips.
Especially.
You know, sometimes
it most definitely is.
Yeah, it's the bad vibrations. Like some people's, they don't like match up like other people do, or it may not be about them matching up. It may just be about
100%.
it just it just may be about experiences they've had in the past or something they're going through now. I mean,
it's just a different mindset almost, or a different mentality.
But either way, it still kind of gives you a point of view from their side, even if it's like you're not like really necessarily on track with them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And you're able to learn from like this is how you're kind of. I guess in a way you can kind of pick the person apart, not to seem like I don't know what the word would be for that, but I guess not to seem like it's some sort of sick game, but. I mean, you're able to look at someone kind of diagnose. That's not the right word. Sorry, but you're able to look at someone and kind of just tell what they're going through.
Their true self.
Yeah. You can almost see the spirit of them, like their true self.
Yeah, I think psychedelics really. I think psychedelics really help me empathize with people, and like you said, just kind of understand different perspectives. You know, it made me a less selfish person.
Yeah.
I really like again. I think a lot of that just derives from. I think a lot of that just comes from introspection. Like you really start to notice. You just start to see reality a little better. Like again, that kind of ties into what I was saying earlier. Like the weird thing about psychedelics, it's really hard to explain to people that haven't tripped, is that psychedelics. It's like this. It's like the game of psychedelics is like seeing more of reality for what it is, but also not getting confused by the fucking like drug side effects of it. Like you are tripping balls. You are like not totally yourself when you're tripping. You know, like you're yourself. You're a trippy version of yourself. You know, you're gonna think thoughts that you wouldn't regularly. You're gonna laugh more than you're still high as fuck. You know, so it's like. I don't know. It's really weird. It's so amazing that it changes your reality, so you can get like a different perspective, and you come back to real reality, I guess you could say. And I don't know. You just like you see it more for what it is. Man, tripping's so convoluted. I can't articulate exactly what it's like.
Really hard. You can describe it as well as you want, but at the end of the day, I feel like. To really understand what it's like, it's something you have to do.
Yeah.
So Tristan,
that was why I wanted to trip in the first place. What's up?
I was just gonna say I was curious about that actually. Like, how many times have you done it, and like what was your most? Because we didn't really hear much of yours, but like what was some of your most profound experiences?
Yeah. So I've only tripped acid one time. I think I connected to my first shrooms trip. It was like I feel like when I explain one, I kind of explain the other a little bit.
Yeah.
Just to give a quick basis. My first shrooms trip was kind of just an impulse decision. I was, it was like shortly before I joined the Army. I was staying with Rhett for a few weeks, and we had a couple of my friends over, and we started drinking a little bit, and I looked at Rhett, and I was like, I want to take your shrooms, because I knew he had some.
I offered him some before that too. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, yeah. I was like, yeah. So me and one of my best friends, Zach, actually both split the shrooms and started tripping together.
Williams?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you have met him.
Okay. Yeah.
Is he Willie?
We hung out with him before. We had Rhett
to
and I
go
were
to
there
SoundCloud.
For his first, dude, remember Rhett? We were there for his first getting high time.
Oh yeah, you were there for that?
Yeah, I was there. But anyways, you and Zach were
yeah, go ahead, Tristan.
Tripping.
Oh yeah, so there was a total of Zach, me, Rhett, and then two of our other friends, Justin and Kenny. It was kind of a wild group of people.
Yeah, I think I met some of them.
We ended up going to you showed us this. You probably have at some point in time.
Yeah, we were all playing Halo in your basement.
Nice. It sounds like a good memory. We were like going out to the woods, just tripping out for a while. Then we started walking to this Shell gas station, and then that's kind of where I started to peak. I definitely think It's like I dropped my wallet at the Shell gas station somewhere around. I had to look for it for like 10 minutes. Everybody walked ahead of me and kind of just left me by myself. And I came, and I'm like looking for my wallet on shrooms, just tripped the fuck out. And I walked over like, Tristan, where'd you go? I was like, oh, I had to find my wallet. We're good now. Okay. And I just remember going inside, like the gas station. I was looking for like a peace tea.
Yeah, there was some significance in that too.
There was actually significance in the peace tea, and it's almost a little wild to think about now. I could not find this peace tea whatsoever. I was like so upset, but I could not stop laughing in the store. And I'm trying to explain to Rhett I want a peace tea. He's like, dude, I really don't know what you want right now, man. I was like, what? I just gave him some money and went outside. I was like, can you just give me something? And
and this is after like probably anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes of like standing in front of the teas, like the refrigerated section. He's just laughing, and I'm like, dude, I don't even understand like the words coming out of your mouth right now.
I was just laughing.
And then after all this time, he finally goes, here, and he hands me his wallet, and then he walks out the store. Like that's all that I remember. Like,
yeah, I cannot handle. I just realized I cannot handle being in here right now.
What did the store clerk look like?
He comes back out with like this. He just kind of stared wide-eyed, like, what the fuck is going on?
He probably knew. Knew we were some tripping motherfuckers.
He was like, what the fuck? He just kind of had like, okay, like,
yeah,
this might be the weirdest thing I see today, kind of thing. I just walked out. He comes out and he brings me this tea or whatever. And he's like, I couldn't find anything else that you wanted. I was like, it's okay, man. Like, this will be fine.
Yeah.
And I've taken it. And then Kenny asked for, like, if I could buy him a fucking chocolate bar or something. And I was like, yeah, man. And he goes in and brings me a little Twix bar. So I have, like, a little snack. And we start walking back to the apartments. And then I just kind of remember stopping on the side of the road and just was like, whoa, like, this was like the peak of the mental aspect, and it's just kind of funny to think about because I'm standing on the side of the road next to the Shell gas station crying, talking to Rhett. Like, I was like, I need to talk to you right now, man. Like, and we just kind of had a conversation. I was just talking to him about how kind of in life, this is kind of where my introspective views started to open up, where I was like talking about how there's so much I wanted to do with life, and there's so many opportunities out there. This is paraphrasing, obviously. That I almost felt like there's too much to do and not enough time, and I didn't know where to go.
Yeah, that's a really powerful realization to have.
Mm-hmm.
That there is a limited amount of time, and you gotta choose your life accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you gotta really get introspective and ask these questions, like, how do I want to be spending my time?
Yeah.
You know.
And then so that kind of ends the significance part. He talked to me and just. I don't remember exactly what he told me, but he ended up giving me some advice and kind of calmed me down and just like made everything seem like even if he could. I don't remember what he said. For all I know, he said like as long as you eat bananas, you'll be okay.
I think I did say that.
But I ended up feeling better, and we ended up walking back. And just to add on to the story real quick, because it's just a part that I thought was hilarious, was there's construction going on the side of the road.
Oh, yeah.
And there's like a crane, like a giant crane. And Justin goes over to it and starts fucking with it. And I was like, come on, man, like let's go. And this motherfucker starts it up.
What?
And he's like, what the fuck? He just started up his fucking crane.
This is just this like dumbass kid pressing random buttons.
Oh my god.
And he figures out how to turn it on.
He's a fucking genius.
And then we all just sprint away.
He just sprinted off. I was like, oh my god, I started laughing so hard. Like, I remember Rhett being kind of pissed off, like why the fuck would he do that right now? Like,
yeah,
you're tripping for your first time ever. He does some crazy shit like that. I was like, no.
Yeah, that's ballsy.
And I just remember looking at Zach, who was also tripping. The weirdest thing is that Zach and I were tripping both at the same time, but I felt like I was on a totally different wavelength the entire time. Like we didn't even like talk or hang out like the entire trip.
I feel like
we were having two separate
Zach
trips
took less, I
together.
think, too. I think he wasn't tripping that much.
Yeah.
I think he was mostly high, to be honest.
Yeah. But he said something. I was like, "Yo, what the fuck?" He was like, "Oh man, you don't do this kind of shit without something crazy like that happening every time." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll make sure to do something dumb next time.
It's kind of true though. I feel like something crazy always does happen. Like
Yeah,
even if you
something
don't
wild
intend
kinda
to,
happens.
it just kind of happens, you know.
Yeah. So we just left this fucking crane on overnight. Like,
What? Oh my
ran out of
god, dude.
gas. We never turned it off.
Dude.
Just went back to the apartment.
A guy probably showed up for work the next day like, oh.
Like,
You probably got fired because of you.
Hey Frank, did you leave the motherfucking crank on? No, I didn't leave it on. No, you're fucking fired. Get out of here.
Oh man, I hope that didn't happen. But
Dude, yeah, that'd be horrible.
at the same time, I really feel like that's not my fault. I didn't start the crane. I was just
True,
tripping
true.
shrooms. So like I couldn't stop this from happening.
Oh,
Bystanders
I was
are
just
just
on
as
drugs.
guilty, Tristan.
Well, yeah. So we just got back and I just watched Rhett play GTA 5 and
Oh yeah.
WWE.
Dude, that was the
and
big
I just
shit.
laughed the entire time. Yeah. Then I listened to the whole Kid Cudi album and went to bed.
Yeah, it's a good trip.
Great trip. Great first
That
trip.
actually
But
does
then
sound
to
pretty
the-
fun. I wish I could have been there for that.
Yeah, I would have loved.
I should have been there for your first
I
birthday,
wish you were
Tristan.
here right now.
But then to the acid trip was. Rhett can help. He was with me on this, and he can help fill in the blanks here. This shit was fucking insane. Like,
Yeah, I'm honestly curious how much you remember. Like, exactly. Yeah.
all right, so there.
First of all, I think we should, just to give some context, we were with, like, way too many people, and they got the acid instead of me, and it definitely wasn't acid. It was, like, a research chemical that was similar to acid.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't the same.
To start off, we'll start with the trip was a strong 15 hours. No, like
Yeah.
not even like a come down. Like I was tripping fucking
Damn.
hard ass balls for 15 hours.
Yeah,
That's-
so, like,
wow.
That's
shit.
the thing. Like, real acid is never like that.
Yeah.
That's definitely research. And especially, like, the kind of headache I had, like, throughout and the next day, I was like, yeah, this is just, like, not acid, man. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
definitely
15
not
hours is a
it.
long time. I remember it being like 8. And then it felt like
Yeah.
you were still on it afterwards. Just because of like the psychological impact on you.
Yeah, and then you're like a little brain dead on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Dude.
always my experience. I was always a little bit brain dead after. But
How'd you feel about, I don't know if you did it after you tripped, but like watching Rick and Morty? Like, I thought that was kind of funny because Rhett told me before that like, it was almost like too much to handle because it was so like psychologically disturbing.
Oh, no, I mean, are you sure that was me? I've always liked to watch weird shit while tripping.
No, I was talking about Tristan. Didn't Tristan like...
I've actually.
Oh.
No, I haven't really watched more than a couple episodes of the show.
Oh, okay. How'd you feel about it?
It's funny.
Oh, is
I haven't paid a lot of attention. I don't. Yeah, like I said, I've seen like.
Yeah.
Any of the episodes I've seen, it's kind of like I wasn't paying attention, or it's been bits and pieces.
Shows like that are really interesting to watch while you're tripping. I remember, and this was bad because we were watching, I think, Super Jail all night after a certain trip. And honestly, I think that shit kind of fucked me up a little bit. Like, just watching something like that, I mean, it is really,
We literally
really
watched
weird.
like almost the entire show that
Dude,
night.
I mean, yeah, it's intense watching something that, like, twisted, like, on a come down, you know? It's crazy.
Yeah, that might fuck with you a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
I think we were still tripping a little bit, honestly, when
Yeah,
we started.
probably. I think we
Yeah,
tried to
like,
do
that
a
was
recharge
nuts.
in the bathroom. The old bathroom. I'm so jealous you guys are sitting in that room right now.
Okay, so yeah. I know, man. I miss you.
Oh,
Missing you.
speaking
Missing you
of-
hard right now.
Speaking of, I've been curious. I've been thinking about her. Is Callie around still?
Oh yeah, she's around.
She's alive. Yep.
Oh, that's so good. What about Theo? And Napoleon?
Oh, he's dead. No, I'm just
Wait.
kidding. No, he's here.
Dude, wait, fuck you, man. That's not cool.
Dude, I would not be that I would not be that nonchalant about Theo.
Dude, hey, I don't know if, I think Tristan was there for this, but remember when he had a string in his butt and we had to pull it out and there was like shit
Oh,
connected
yeah.
to it?
That was like the longest dingleberry of all
Oh
time.
my god, it was so disgusting. But like honestly, it was the most fun though. Not like pulling it out of his ass, but like.
Wait,
being
okay.
in
How do we go from
Berkshire.
Tristan's acid trip to talking about a cat's dingleberry? Like, what are we talking about here?
I don't know. But I like where this is going.
Oh fuck.
Dude,
All right, well we can come back to it.
Yeah.
Well, let's circle back. All right. Let's go back to the acid trip real quick. So yeah, 15-hour trip. There was, I think, a group of 6.
Something like
I
that.
don't want to say. Me, Rhett, Zach once again was there. Then 3 other friends, JJ and Garrett, and then Kenny. But Kenny wasn't tripping. He was trip sitting high as fuck, and that was a struggle for him in his own regard. But I just remember, like, this thing was just a fucking roller coaster. Like, we did so much now I think about it. Like, I guess it started, we went to the Come and Go, and I started off, like, on a really, really rough fucking wave. This was, like, as soon as it started hitting me, I started feeling, like, really nauseous, sick to the stomach. I had just smoked a Black and Mild before, so I just really felt out of it. I was like, oh, I feel sick, like, this doesn't feel right, I feel weird. It was just, like, this kind of struggle, like, the first hour into it, I was like, okay, I'm already ready to be done, like, I'm not fucking with this. Like,
yeah, and that is not a good mindset to have just an hour into a 15-hour trip.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, yeah, he was pretty much saying, he was pretty much telling me right from the get-go, like, he wants this to be over. Like, it was like an hour afterwards when he
got
first
to the
started
top
saying
of the
that.
hill on the roller coaster and said, fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
there you go.
Let me off. Like,
Let me
I'm
off
not
of
ready
this
for
thing.
this ride.
Yeah.
Fuck. So yeah, I just remember that, and then remember we're walking back to the house we were gonna trip at, and we started cutting through a golf course, and that's kind of where I started lighting up a little bit. I started to laugh, and I was like, okay, the nausea went away, and I was all right. I'm fucking with this, and then we had one of those like those silly moments where. These dudes just started picking up rakes and started fighting each other with the fucking rakes. And like, somebody's like, stop. I was like, no, this is important. So I'm like, so stupid. We continued, we went back to the house, and we this is just what I remember. I think we started watching Scooby-Doo at this point. Or we just chilling, listening to music a little bit and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was chill, listening to music. I was just kind of just on a roller coaster in my own head this whole time. Like, up, like, this is a lot of fun, then down, like, holy fuck. Like, this is bad. I was getting on loops as well. So I was, like, thinking, like, oh, God. My sister says she wanted to do acid one day. But she should never do this. This is just insane.
Yeah.
And then, for whatever reason, I had to pee a lot. Like, I had to go to the bathroom constantly. And every time I looked in the mirror, I looked at myself, I was like, I don't look right. You know how we were talking about earlier, like, you can kind of see your reflection or, like, what you're looking like and stuff like that. I felt like every time I looked in the mirror, I looked like, I almost had, like, a green hue to myself.
It's weird.
Like a pestilence. Like, I felt really sick and
Yeah.
like, bad looking.
A lot of people have that sort of experience while tripping. They look in the mirror and they see, like, a really, like, sick version of themselves.
Yeah.
It's really scary.
Yeah, it was.
I feel like it says a lot about the kind of trip you're having, you know, because, like, when I've had good trips, like, one time I was, like, doing, like, 3 tabs, so I was, like, tripping really hard, and I looked in the mirror and I was having a good time, but I swear I looked like I had, like, a lot of hair, like I was, like, a gorilla version of myself, and that was, like, it was like, oh, shit, but it wasn't, like, terrible, but, like, on my bad trips, I've looked in the mirror and it looks like I'm dying, so I realized that. By the way, you mentioned going to the bathroom, and I think this is actually a perfect time to kind of, like, enter in my side, like, to start talking about the B story, which is my side of the story, what was happening. So the same kind of trip was happening, you know. I'm pretty collected though. Like, I knew something was, like, wrong with the acid, but I was like, okay. I was kind of like, I took up a role of, like, I was just kind of looking over Tristan, trying to make sure things were okay because he wasn't having a great come up, and the other friends, it was just like a bad mix of a group, and that'll really show itself as I explain the story. But basically, like, one of the times when Tristan went to the bathroom when we were watching Scooby-Doo, listening to music or whatever, they paused the Scooby-Doo. He went to the bathroom, and then they started, like, talking amongst themselves, saying, like, you know, Tristan's not okay, this and this and this, and they were, like, making a point of, like, making sure that he didn't hear them, like, they were, like, conspiring
cool.
And, like, they were trying to figure out what they were gonna do. Anyway, I'll pass it off to Tristan for now, but later I'll explain how that all went down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely had conversations. I think, like, one of the loops was that we know this kid from high school, he tripped acid, and kind of had an existing, like brain disorder, and he is like to this day still kind of fucked up mentally. And I was just kind of like I got on a loop. Was like, I don't want to end up as that dude. And I was reassured multiple times throughout the night by everybody, like, that's not gonna happen. Just relax. And kind of like the biggest thing I was told is just kind of just let go and just let it happen. They're like, dude, you're gonna be fucked up. Like, you'll be fine tomorrow. Just go with the flow.
Yeah, a classic, almost a cliche with tripping now that does ring true is to enjoy your time, you have to kind of like
accept it.
Yeah, you have to accept it, and it sounds vague, but anybody that's tripped understands this, that you have to let go. You have to just like let go of like and realize that this is happening. Just go into it, like dive right in, you know.
Because I felt like it was almost like two parts of you that are kind of fighting. Was it one, you already know that parts of your brain are talking to each other that never do, and so now you're like your normal consciousness self is trying to like hang on to that, grasp that reality and be like, okay, but the acid is like, nah, man, like, it's just gonna be wild for a little bit.
Nah, man.
and it's just kind of a fight with each other. You kind of just gotta let the acid, like, almost win and just, like, take over for a little bit and enjoy it. It's kind of almost like a dark look on it, but
it's pretty true, though.
Yeah, it's kind of just a way I just now...
You really gotta set aside your ego and let your kind of, like, true self take the wheel in order to really... like have a good time.
Just let yourself be crazy for a few hours.
Yeah, like. You brought up a good point there, Dakota, because it is hard if your ego is like kind of a sham. Mm-hmm. Like like when we circle around to me, I'll elaborate on that more because that's more entwined with my biggest experience with shrooms. But anyway, but go on, Tristan. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we ended up watching like Scooby-Doo. And that was just absolutely hilarious. Is the one with the aliens in Area 52.
Yeah.
Like, I just remember some part about, like, a jackalope running and Scooby-Doo and Shaggy telling a story and stopping to eat, like, a bunch of donuts. And I just found it absolutely hilarious. Like, 100% hysterical.
It was probably it was a cinematic masterpiece, yeah.
Yes. I think one of my favorite parts in this room, I don't know if this happened, like, during this time or if we left and came back. I know everybody stopped to kind of start taking some dabs and like kind of like lighten up a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a point where Kenny is standing in front of the whole room with the upside down visor, and explaining everything that's the sequences of the movie up to the point we were at. Like, do you remember that?
Yeah,
like
I do.
I just remember that being like hysterical for whatever reason because I just kind of thought about that. I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? And we just had like a massive conversations, like talking about like Kenny had this thing called East Earth and West Earth, which is basically Springs Ranch Park, but like one part of Springs Ranch was East Earth and the other part of the Springs Ranch Park was West Earth. But he kept saying like, do you guys want to go to East Earth or West Earth? And we're like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, and again, Kenny was the only one that wasn't tripping. He was really high on weed, so he kind of caught the contagious trippy effects, I guess you could say. But
yeah, he was definitely on the vibes there.
Yeah,
he would no longer be certified for a drug sitter, I guess you could say.
Yeah. See, okay, so like I have to point out that a big problem about that group was that they were extremely arrogant with their drug use, and it's not like I'm an elitist or anything, but they just started tripping like acid and stuff like that. Like, I mean, probably like literally like a month before that at the time, something like that. And they all thought they were just like, yeah, like they all thought they were experts and they were noobs, I guess you could say. And so yeah, Kenny was the trip sitter, but like, man, it just like it wasn't going good. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Why don't you explain like when we went outside?
So yeah, we ended up going outside. Again, we went to a different come and go. I just kind of remember that being fucking wild. Like, I just looked at the sign, the market sign on the outside, and the letters are moving around, just like changing the order.
Oh my gosh,
I was like, what the fuck? They're pulsing. I was like,
any sort of
visuals are fucking insane.
Any sort of artificial light really changes visuals with acid. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely. So I was just tripped the fuck out. Like, letters, words, like, everything is just fucking crazy. My visuals are just, like, going wild. Like, things are pulsing. Then, I guess we get to the gas station, and I go inside. And I guess, like, some shit happened outside, if Rhett wanted to explain.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. So like, while Tristan's inside with Kenny having his whole thing, I'm outside with the rest of these trippy guys who, as the night is going on, I am just deciding more and more I do not like. I like Zach. I like Zach. I like Z Willie to this day, but like, but here I am. I'm like, I'm tripping as much as anybody else, but I'm also like the most experienced and the most level headed, if I'm being honest. And like literally, what they're doing outside is they're panicking, thinking everybody around them is a cop.
Oh
Like
my
literally,
gosh.
yeah. So
So they're
people
just
are
in
like
a
pulling
downward
up.
spiral at that point, then, huh?
Yeah, but they don't realize it. They don't realize it. Garrett keeps saying shit like I'm a gangster, and when I get in these sort of mindsets, I just have to accept that I'm a gangster and you know and accept that. You know what I'm saying, guys? And they're like, yeah, man, no, I get it. You should lead us. And so like yeah, just a little more context throughout the entire night. I'm the most level-headed. I'm trying to figure out like how to, you know, get Tristan okay. I'm not even paying attention
Dude,
to
that
like my
sounds like
tripping
US
anymore. I'm just like
history.
trying to make sure everything goes okay. Yeah, and then so Kenny's like, you know, walking us around all these different places. I have no idea where we are. Tristan's a little more familiar with the area usually, but tripping it was like a whole different thing. But I had no idea where we were, and Kenny wouldn't tell me anything. So that's why I was like, okay, yeah, you're not a good trip sitter. You're not telling me where we're going. I know he was kind of trying to play a game, but he wasn't paying attention enough to that there. Yeah, it was just a bad mixture of people.
And
honestly,
and
too many too.
Too many as well. You couldn't really control everybody.
It's true.
Or keep everybody under control.
And that's
leave the.
I was just gonna say that's a big responsibility of the trip sitters to not fuck with the people who are tripping because it's so easy to. It's so easy to like fuck with someone, but like if you try too hard, you can just really ruin people's times doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we end up walking through these neighborhoods, just kind of still on the roller coaster this whole time. I'm like up and down, up and down, up and down.
I think at this point Tristan starts playing with the unfortunately starts playing with the thought, and he starts asking me, am I ever gonna be normal again? You know, am I ever gonna am I gonna wake up and I'm gonna be the same? You know, so I'm like, oh shit, this is getting really bad.
Yeah.
You know, like he's really starting to believe that, you know, that he may wake up and, you know, not be Tristan anymore. He's just gonna be this like tripping mess for the rest of his life.
Dude, yeah, it's a scary thought.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was just the biggest thought that kept looping throughout the night, and I guess that was the hardest thing, especially with the intensity of the trip. Like, I was just tripping fucking so immensely that this thought was, like, continued to come back. You know, I feel like if I wasn't tripping as hard, I could have been, like, if I felt more in control of myself, then I would have been fine. But I was like, dude, I'm, like, fucked up. I can't even
And
process
again, it just
shit.
wasn't acid. It just wasn't the same experience, honestly.
So we have to go into this park, and I just remember, like, Garrett's having a loop, like, oh, fuck, like, his mom, like, woke up and asked where we were at, and he was like, what do I tell my mom? Everybody is just fucking, like, off the wall, just tripped the fuck out at this point. I think we probably got to the park, and this is, like, 8 or 9 hours of just fucking wildness. It feels like the way we've told the story, it hasn't been this long, but we have done a lot of shit and a lot of walking.
Oh yeah, it's slow.
And this is kind of where everybody started peaking and shit, too.
Yeah.
I remember. And that was another thing, because I thought we had already peaked like 3 hours ago. Or like
Second peak. Again with the roller coaster,
False summit.
It's
False
like, you know.
summit. There we go.
Yeah, it was definitely a false summit, because it just got fucking intense. And because JJ's like, I think I'm peaking right now, and Garrett's like, yeah, yo, dude, bro, I think you're right, bro. Like, I think I am peaking right now. And I was like, you guys are peaking, and everyone kind of went around full circle, and I was like, fuck, like, this is the peak. I was like, and in my head, I was like, Jesus, we just now started peaking.
Yeah,
I think it's a lot of time
cool how people link up too. Like, it's like one activates the other, and it's like, oh shit, we all feel it.
Yeah,
like it's like a collective.
Yeah, see, it's really
collective energy.
Again,
you know,
you're another true cliche is your set and setting really matters, because like weird things like that do happen during a trip. It's like your vibes really, really matter during that time. Everybody's like extra sensitive to those vibrations, you know.
So I guess like we kind of hung out there for a little bit, tried to calm everybody down. Went back to Garrett's house from there. Yeah,
we went back to Garrett's house, and this is when things get like really bad. Like for both of us, but like I especially like I got really uncomfortable with that whole thing. Oh man.
So we went back, and we watched Zombieland, And that was hilarious. That
Oh my
movie
God,
was
yeah,
so
that's so
funny.
good.
Yeah,
It's so
dude.
good.
That was the weirdest visuals for me though. Like it literally, there were times where the movie it looked like a mirror hit it or something. Like literally, like things just weren't right. Characters were in the wrong places. Like my reality was absolutely like changed in some ways at that point. That was the only time I really noticed it though. I was like, wait a minute, this isn't Zombieland. What is this? Like,
yeah,
but
dude,
it
You
was.
felt like
It
you're
was
watching a
Zombieland.
completely different movie.
At times, yeah.
It is. That's exactly how it is. I remember we were doing that at Sterling's one time, I think. I don't remember what we're on, but we were watching a movie and I'm like, what the hell is this? And like I saw it before, but I just didn't recognize it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It gets pretty wild.
Yeah.
And then we watched like a football game after that. So we were watching some TV for some good time, and I was just everyone's kind of like, okay, I'm trying to go to sleep. Dudes are starting to fall asleep, and me, I'm like, I am still high as fuck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
well, the
it, feels
thing is,
like, it feels like you're never going to go to sleep again.
Yeah, in the end, only Kenny actually fell asleep because, and Zach, I think, yeah, Zach and Kenny were like the two that like actually fell asleep. And there was always still a few that were up, even if they were barely awake. But Kenny fell asleep because he wasn't tripping, and that's when shit went really bad. I'm gonna enter the B story again real quick, just because this is like, I'm still just like uncomfortable thinking about it. But like this is when the conspiracy shit really comes back. Like, so yeah, you know, Tristan's in the living room. It's like a big basement that we're chilling in this entire, or when we got back to the house, and I go into the bathroom and I like literally am like taking out my dick when Garrett, the guy that his parents own that house, he comes in the bathroom with like it with me and then like closes the door and locks it, and I like have my dick out and I'm like, and I like put it back in my pants. I'm like, hey, what's up? And Garrett is like full on like meth tweaking at this point. Like his like lip is like quivering like uncontrollably. His eyes are like shaking.
God, that's
like
scary.
it was like. And his speech was like really weird. He comes up to me like with like looking like a fucking hunchback or something, like tweaking out. He comes over to me and he's like whispering. But the scariest part is he had a big old smile on his face when he said the following. He's like, "Hey man, so me and the fellas have decided that you and Tristan got to get out of here." And I'm like, "What?" Again, some context. I'm in this area. I don't know where I am. Tristan is just like off the wall at this point. Like I like there's like almost a language barrier between us. And, like I can't get through to him.
Yeah.
It was like it's funny now, but it was like scary at the time. I didn't know how I was gonna deal with the situation. And he's like, you guys can call an Uber. Tristan has money. I know he does. And I was like, what? What the fuck, man? Like,
That's
why
so
can't we just stay
weird.
here the night? Yeah. So.
Dude,
yeah.
oh
I mean,
my
to
God,
kind of speak.
that'd be
Yeah.
crazy.
No, so it got worse though because like I was like, okay, fine, like I guess we'll get out of here. Like I was like ready. I was like truthfully a little ready to get out of there myself, just because like especially when he's putting off that kind of vibe, I'm like, okay, yeah, we're not wanted here. We're tripping balls. Tristan's going nuts. Let's get the fuck out of here. So I'm trying to work with Tristan to get him to like get his phone up on Uber.
This was fucking insane.
It was terrible. But here's the thing. Garrett kept changing his mind. He said, okay, no, it can't be in front of the house anymore. No, I'm like, my parents may see. And I'm like, okay, fine. That kind of makes sense. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to get it a few blocks away. Like, literally, he wouldn't let me get it 2 to 3 blocks away. He says, you're going to have to get it to a come and go. And I'm like, one of the come and goes that's, like, probably a mile away from here. Either one.
God,
like, what?
Dude. That's horrible.
Yeah. So, but that's what happened in the end. And, yeah, so the guy that was acting all confident got so paranoid that he kicked us out of his fucking house while we're tripping, not knowing if we're gonna get home safe. And I'll never forgive him for that. Like he's still a guy that I want to punch in the face.
That is awful.
Yeah.
Like
Just
I've never had
person,
anything
honestly.
like that happen to me while I've been tripping, but if I did, that would probably definitely dig up some nasty shit.
It was pretty intense. And I was just kind of unaware this entire time.
No, yeah,
I was
Tristan was like
almost.
Tristan was like, in my perspective, was pretty much gone at this point. Like until we woke up the next day. So I was like, okay, we just gotta get him home. So like, but literally, it was at the tripping point where like I would tell him to get his phone out so we could do an Uber, and he would take it out, and then it'd be back in his pocket. Like I mean, I'm talking 10 seconds later, and I'm like, dude, where's your phone? He's like, what? I'm like, dude, we have to get an Uber. He's like, where are we going? I'm like, are you serious, Tristan? We gotta get home. We got kicked the fuck out. Like, so I'm getting frustrated, but honestly, I was keeping my cool because I I was like, I'll be honest with him and talk to him when we get home. But for now, I just need us to be quiet and get there. Yeah. So eventually he calls an Uber, but to the wrong come and go.
The wrong come and go.
Yeah.
And oh man, this is so fucking funny to me because we call it the wrong come and go. And I end up calling the dude like, hey, like this is not the come and go we meant. We went the one on Tut, and the guy was kind of confused like. Oh, how'd you do that? Like, how did we do this and stuff? And why didn't I just change it on my phone? But I just remember looking at my phone, and the little GPS comes up on the phone. It shows you the map. And all the roads are winding and moving. And so I was like, dude, I don't know where the fuck we're at right now. Like, every road is just changing. And I was like, oh my god, I'm still tripping pretty fucking hard. And I was just like, yeah, can you just meet us at the one on Tut? And I knew which direction it was in, as it was towards the mountains, is all I knew. And he's like, yeah. So like we end up trying to walk there, and you know where Sky Sox is at, like the Sky Sox Stadium.
Oh yeah, I know where that is. Yeah.
So you know how there's like this giant like fields behind it and plains and stuff. Like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we walked through there to get to this.
It's like a small like. It's like a small reservoir, like a dry reservoir behind there, and I had no idea where it was. But Tristan, like he just pointed me a direction, and I was like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna keep going that way till we get there." Yeah. And so I end up walking us in this reservoir. It was a little bit dangerous because it was like pretty muddy and kind of steep. Yeah. But we ended up getting out of there, and we get to the come and go. I mean, all this shit happens, and again, this took longer than it seems. But we got to the come and go, and we get in the car with this guy, and I think my perspective is especially just like amusing here because I'm with Tristan and he's like going out of his fucking mind here. I can't even like literally.
I'm scared for me right now.
Yeah, I'm scared for him. I'm like talking. I'm trying to talk to him and he can't even converse with me like a person. I'm like, this is fucking terrible. Like, what if he just freaks out as a panic attack and starts like slapping the guy that's driving the car or something? Like, literally, that wasn't out of the question in my mind at this point. So
you think anyway, he knew? So I mean, he had to have known, huh?
Here's the thing. We get in the car and we start driving and it's pretty silent at first. I could tell I look at Tristan, he's just like looking down, like trying not to say anything, trying not to freak out, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go with this. It's only like a 25-minute drive though, so I'm like, fuck man, this is scary. And then the guy starts talking, and he's like, I don't know, he doesn't look like a wise guy or anything, but he starts talking in like a deeper tone, and it was like comforting, and he's like, I don't know, he starts saying some stuff, you know, like, rough night, huh? And we're like, yeah, a little bit. And then from there on out, I didn't say like a single word, but let me kind of like run over the conversation that happens between the man and Tristan, who's tripping out of his mind. So
most profound conversation.
This was ridiculous to me. So like I'm worried. I'm worried as soon as the guy starts like talking to Tristan because he looks in the mirror. You know, I can tell that he's looking at Tristan and he's like, you know, he asks about the rough night and stuff, and he's like, yeah, you know, I've had some rough nights in my time too. He's like talking like Bob Ross or something, and then he looks at the mountains and he's like, you know. Sometimes I look at those mountains, and actually, you know, I look at those mountains every morning, and I always decide that I'm going to be like those mountains. And then from Tristan comes an enthusiastic, yeah! And he's like, I like to be like those mountains because those mountains are there every morning. I wake up, and they're there every morning, just, you know, doing their thing or something like that. He's talking about the nature of the mountains.
Yeah.
You know, and how they're always there, how they're always reliable. And Tristan's like, yeah, that makes so much sense. And this is pretty much like the main stuff that's coming from Tristan. But he's taking a little and giving a little to the conversation. And I'm just there fucking speechless. Like, what the fuck? I literally did not say another word the entire drive.
As fuck. He even started talking about the traffic at one moment, about how every day all these people still manage to like get up and do their thing. I was like, yeah, it's pretty magnificent, that view of the mountains still being there. And you see all these people just like doing their lives the right way and stuff like that. Like I don't remember exactly. I just remember being like inspired as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it doesn't even matter if you remember anything about that because it got us home, and we ended up getting back to the room, and this is when things got ugly, but then got better. Honestly, because I remember we got to the room. I let you sit on the mattress that I had on the floor. And I'm just like sitting on the couch, like just fucking like I'm done, I'm dead. I'm like I can't you know, deal with this shit anymore. And Tristan, literally like in a span of, like I would say he would ask me this question like 30 times in 60 seconds. He was asking me like, am I gonna be okay tomorrow? Am I gonna be awake? Am I gonna wake up and be fine? What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? Am I gonna be okay? And I eventually interject him, and I'm like, dude, I don't know what to tell you anymore. You're gonna wake up and you're gonna be fine. But right now you have to just like, you have not embrace it, but you have to like accept what's happening and just ride through it. And that was the main thing I was saying. I can't remember it verbatim, but do you remember how you like responded to that though, Tristan?
Yeah, I remember we started talking about like my life at that point.
Yeah, because he was like gonna join the army.
What kind of trauma like I was having, like being away from my family for the first time, because this is where my family had just moved to Minnesota. I'm down here in Colorado, and we kind of were able to like open up and talk for a little bit, and I just kind of throughout this entire conversation, and even after the conversation, I'll just continue with the conversation for a second. We started talking about I started talking about how I kind of felt like lost, like kind of by myself, like didn't even know where I was going and stuff like this. And he kind of just really talked me through it, and kind of just faced like a lot of like internal trauma I didn't even realize I had, and like it's privileged trauma. Like it was like something like that was probably be easy for some people to deal with, but it's like a first time for me. And as we spoke about it, we talked about how I was joining the army, and that if that was going to help make me into like a real man, I was going to be able to take control of my life from the driver's seat. And
yeah, because part of that trauma was that that you realized that you never really felt like you were your own man, and and this is like your first time feeling like you don't have somebody to like to take care of you in a sense.
It was like that. I was like, I've always had someone to like kind of guide me through everything, and then
or even tell you what to do.
Yeah, or even tell me what to do. So I was kind of like, okay, I gotta do this on my own now.
Yeah, it's a scary realization coming into that.
Yeah,
mindset.
it really is. I just kind of wasn't prepared for it.
Yeah.
And then what ends up happening is I start to calm down, start to relax, and I'm like, okay. I'm kind of grateful like this, and I'm like, okay, like this is gonna be good for me. This is what I want. Like I was like really confident. Like I felt really uplifted, and then Reddit goes to bed, and I'm still awake for like another hour or two, like tripping. And I decided to listen to this album by John Bellion called The Human Condition. Great album, by the way. It's super super inspiring to me. A lot of the songs I felt were just like kind of, I had never listened to the album. It just felt relatable, like I could relate to myself. And a lot we're talking about, talking about God and kind of like having faith through everything. And that's kind of where I developed like a sense of upliftedness. Like I literally at a point in the album felt like there's a weight being picked up off my shoulders. Like a physical like weight, like if you had been carrying a heavy backpack and finally taking it off, like something like that, but lifting it off of you, like it was raising. I could still feel like the presence of the weight above me, and it kind of vanished. And throughout the next hour of just listening to this album, I just started to feel more and more happy and proud of myself and relaxed. And
I remember before I went to bed. Yeah, it's true. But I remember before I went to bed, you really just like seemed better. Like even after all that shit, you seemed better. It seemed like you felt better about yourself in general than you had even before that trip. Like it seemed like you were like finally being honest with things that you weren't before.
It works wonders.
I was able to be honest with myself. Yeah, definitely. The conversations, I was able to look at myself for who I was, and I looked at myself in the mirror, and I was just like, I was proud of who I was. I was like, wow, like I'm a good person. I'm going to do the right thing, and I felt like this is where I made a connection with God. Not even physically. I didn't talk to him or like find him. I just felt like, he was there. And I felt like that presence was there, and that even I always have myself and always have him to guide me, and that the path I'm on right now was the path that he had initially planned for me, initially set out for me. And
wow, that really puts it into perspective for me. Going back on the whole religion thing, kind of connecting it to the whole trip. I really understand that. In my specific case, that's not what happened. But that makes a lot of sense to me that you were at a point in your life where you felt lost and you needed help, you need guidance, and I really see how for a lot of people, that is the best thing you can have is God, So that really puts
exactly.
into perspective of how important that is.
So when you ask that question, like do people need it or not? Like, probably not, but I feel like it definitely helps at least in my situation.
It's not for everyone. It's not for everyone.
No.
But there are people who will be more of a productive member of society, I think, if they did have him. And I think that's what's important, you know.
Well, see, I think something good to do is to I think we all kind of agree to some degree that people need something like that for peace of mind and for hope in a sense, and I guess like to make some sort of connection with it, like with me, somebody who's I guess atheist, I realized, especially through tripping and stuff, that I need people.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of my thing, like I isolated myself for a while, and I wasn't honest with the fact that I definitely I manage myself a lot better when like I function better when I have like love and support around me, and that's what I felt like I needed. So it's like so yeah, I feel like that's something that you could intertwine with the God thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it's like some people find God, some people figure out that they just really need like good people.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like everyone needs something different in their lives.
Yeah.
But everybody needs something.
Couldn't have said it better.
Yeah.